Hold on to your seats as we unveil the mind-boggling tale of a $20 million Indian stock market scam that sent shockwaves through the nation. Prepare to be astounded by the audacity of a single mastermind who orchestrated a high-stakes game of deception and manipulation, bringing the mighty Indian stock market to its knees. Brace yourself for a riveting journey into the heart of one of history's most infamous financial scandals, the Harshad Mehta scam of 1992. Explaining the Harshad Mehta scam of 1992. The magnitude of the Harshad Mehta scam was so big that if put into perspective today, it brought a bear market to Dalal Street. This single man deceived the entire nation with an amount of over 24,000 crores, which is way bigger than the Nirav Modi or Vijay Mallya scams. Today, we take a look at how the Harshad Mehta scam was executed and try to understand how he was able to fool the entire Dalal market and even the Indian banking system. Harshad Mehta's 40 rupee journey. Perhaps what makes the Harshad Mehta story even more interesting is that despite migrating to Mumbai with only 40 rupees in his pocket, he managed to influence the country in such a massive way. Once he discovered his interest in the stock market, he worked for broker Prasanna Pranjavadas in the 1980s. Harshad considered Prasanna Pranjavadas as his guru. Over the next decade, he went on to work for several brokerage firms, eventually opening up his own brokerage under the name Growmore Research and Asset Management. By the 1990s, Harshad Mehta had risen to such prominence in the stock market that he was known as the Amitabh Bachchan of the stock market. Terms such as the Big Bull and Raging Bull were regularly used in reference to him. Over time, he became particularly known for his wealth in the 1990s, which he did not shy away from boasting about through his 15,000-square-foot penthouse and array of cars. He was described by journalist Susheta Dalal as charismatic, ebullient, and recklessly ambitious. Perhaps it was this recklessness that led to his downfall through his ambitious schemes. The broken financial environment of the 1990s. The year 1991 marks the year of liberalization of the Indian economy. While we are grateful for this opening up today, Indian businesses found their own set of challenges. The public sector was forced to face increased competition and was under pressure to display profitability in the new environment. The private sector, however, responded positively to this news, as it meant more funds from foreign investments. The new reforms were also welcomed by the private sector, as they allowed entry into new sectors of businesses that were earlier reserved for government enterprises. The stock market reacted positively to this, with the Bombay Stock Exchange touching 4,500 points in March 1992. However, liberalization was not the only factor responsible for this. The period also saw an increase in demand for funds. The banks were pressured into taking advantage of the situation to improve their bottom line. The banks were required to maintain a certain threshold of government fixed interest bonds, known as the Statutory Liquidity Ratio, or SLR. These bonds were issued by the government to develop the country's infrastructure. The minimum threshold that banks had to maintain as bonds in the 1990s was set at 38.5%. To meet the SLR requirement, banks would engage in ready-forward deals, RFD, with each other. An RFD is a secured short-term loan from one bank to another, with government bonds acting as collateral. Instead of transferring the actual bonds, banks would transfer bank receipts, BR, which were short-term IOUs. The borrowing bank would sell securities represented by these BRs to the lending bank. This system provided quick liquidity, secrecy, and allowed banks to bypass the creditworthiness of the borrowing bank. However, it also created a flaw that Harshad Mehta would exploit. Harshad Mehta and the Bear Cartels. Back in 1991, the stock market was going through a rough patch. A group of influential stockbrokers known as the Bear Cartels had taken charge, deliberately spreading negative rumors about various companies to drive down stock prices. Their objective was to purchase undervalued stocks at rock-bottom prices and reap substantial profits when the market eventually bounced back. Amidst this situation, Harshad Mehta decided to confront the bear cartels head-on. He injected large sums of money into the stock market as a countermeasure. Mehta initially targeted shares of relatively obscure companies that were available at extremely low prices. Utilizing his clout, he orchestrated market manipulation by artificially creating demand and consequentially driving up the prices of these stocks. To legitimize his investment moves, Mehta relied on the replacement cost theory. According to this concept, the market had already corrected the undervaluation of specific stocks, indicating that their prices were destined to rise. Investors blindly followed Mehta's investment strategies, believing him to possess insider knowledge and unmatched expertise in navigating the market. Mehta's actions also proved advantageous for the banks involved. When he acquired shares, he used bank receipts backed by government bonds as a means of payment. Consequently, the banks received a share of his profits, as they earned interest on the bonds held as collateral. The scam within the scam and aftermath. Mehta discovered that ready-forward deals relied heavily on bank receipts and decided to take advantage of this situation. He teamed up with two small banks, the Bank of Korat, BOK, and the Metropolitan Cooperative Bank, MCB, and carried out a deceitful plan within the already existing scam. He manipulated the banking system by creating fake bank receipts that had no real assets supporting them. Using these fraudulent bank receipts, Mehta acquired funds from other banks, particularly the State Bank of India, SBI, and directed the money into the stock market. He made enormous purchases of stocks, artificially inflating their prices and creating a feeling of excitement in the market. The scam was exposed when Sucheta Dalal, a journalist working for the Times of India, purchased an article on April 23, 1992, uncovering Mehta's deceitful activities. This revelation immediately impacted the stock market. The Sensex, which had reached a peak of 4,467 points on April 23rd, dropped by 570 points the following day. The government acted swiftly in response to the scam, but unfortunately it exacerbated the financial situation. The Reserve Bank of India, RBI, tightened its control over the banking system, leading to a shortage of available funds. The government implemented new regulations, including the establishment of the Securities and Exchange Board of India, SEBI, to regulate the securities market. The consequences of the scam were far-reaching. Several banks, including the Bank of Korat and the Metropolitan Cooperative Bank, faced bankruptcy. Numerous investors lost their hard-earned money, and the reputation of the Indian stock market suffered severe damage. Additionally, the scam brought to light deep-seated corruption and collusion among politicians, bankers, and brokers. The long legal battle. Harshad Mehta faced numerous legal challenges after his fraudulent activities were exposed. He was arrested and charged with various offenses, including stock market fraud, cheating, forging documents, and participating in criminal schemes. The legal process took a considerable amount of time, and Mehta had to spend a significant period in prison. In 2001, Mehta passed away due to a heart attack while the legal cases were still ongoing. Even after his death, investigations and legal battles continued, but many cases were eventually closed due to insufficient evidence or the passage of too much time. Nevertheless, the impact of the Harshad Mehta scam on the Indian financial system persists today and is remembered as part of his legacy. The Harshad Mehta scam, which occurred in 1992, remains one of the most significant financial scams in India's history. Mehta, a stockbroker, manipulating the banking system and stock market, resulting in a massive crash and extensive losses for investors. The scam revealed weaknesses in the financial system and emphasized the necessity for stricter regulations and oversight. The legacy of the Harshad Mehta scam serves as a reminder of the fundamental importance of integrity, transparency, and ethical practices in the financial sector. It also highlights the need for investors to exercise caution and conduct thorough research before making investment decisions. And that wraps up today's video. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any video topic suggestions, let me know in the comment section down below. And yes, make sure to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content.